Hello, hello, and
Well,
welcome
hello.
to. I already have an audience. That's a great feeling right there. Welcome to Ken Michaels Radio, and I hope you guys know me. I'm Ken Michaels. I'm known for many Beatles programs that I do on the radio and also on the internet, a syndicated radio show called Every Little Thing, heard now on over 40 radio stations, a couple of Beatle podcasts, Things We Said Today, and a solo Beatles podcast, a video one, as a matter of fact, called Talk More Talk. And I've got my Beatles-centric website, kenmichaelsradio.com. It's Ken Michaels all over the place. And now, apparently, I'm invading the video world. This is my very first video by myself, and I'm hoping to do lots of interviews on this site, and maybe have Beatle news here, and maybe interview some people that are not in the Beatle world. Maybe stretch my wings a little bit. But as this is my first show, I thought it was only appropriate to get a very special person to kick it off with me. And that's a good friend of mine who I've known now since the 1980s, since he was on my show in New Jersey on WDHA, if you can remember that far back. And you know him for his many years in Badfinger and his solo career, doing lots of great concerts with the band and on his own. And that's Joey Molland. Joey, welcome to Ken Michaels Radio.
Well, thank you very much, Ken. I'm very pleased to be here in your virgin performance. And,
I'll always refer to you as my first, Joey.
you want to play no matter what?
Sure. Whatever you want. Anyway, you're here with us not only to look back at your career, but also to talk a lot about what's going on with you right now, because you've just released a brand new album, which is called Be True to Yourself. And maybe you might want to hold up the CD that you have right there so people can see. The front cover looks really nice, which, by the way, I'm told Julian Lennon took that shot. Is that true?
He did. He did. Some guy hanging out on the beach. And it's really cool. It's a beautiful photo. And we're hoping when it comes out on vinyl, which it surely will, probably in about 6 months, it'll be a beautiful cover. It'll be a beautiful big picture. Yeah.
Okay.
Worthy of a poster, you might say.
Yeah. Tell me how that photo came about. Is that you? Are you the man there in the photo?
No, I believe that's it looks like Mitch Ryder to me. Is that you, Mitch? I don't know. Yeah, no, we just like the photo so much. And Mark asked him, could we use it? Mark Hudson asked him, could we use it for the cover? And he said, okay.
So that was just a photo that Julian had hanging around and Mark saw it?
Yeah, well, Julian is well famous nowadays as a photographer.
Sure.
He's done many fine things. And this was just one that he hadn't sold yet. And I don't think anybody had used it yet. So we wanted to use it for the cover. He was nice enough to give us permission.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You just mentioned Mark, who is Mark Hudson. Mark produced this album with you. And as a matter of fact, he co-wrote all the songs with you.
Yeah, he did. He worked on all the songs with them. So I gave him co-writing credits rather. And he did. He contributed a lot of lyrics. He contributed some choruses. And he really did. He really stuck his 2 cents into the songs, which is kind of what a producer does. I've had that happen a few times before, but Mark did so much work that I just had to credit him with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. How did this whole thing start, hooking up with Mark Hudson? How did you pick him as a producer?
Well, I've heard his stuff, obviously, and he's a great record producer, Grammy winner, no less. Mm-hmm. And so I've been for years wanting to work with a great producer again. All my solo albums, I've done the production job on them, and except for one, the Memphis one, that was Carl Wise. But I was really looking forward to working with somebody who made pop records, made rock records, and I got friendly with Mark at Beatles Fests and stuff.
Sure.
You know? And, we'd sing songs together and hang out and that. And eventually, Mark said to me, actually, do you want to make a record? This was about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And I said, I'd love to, man. I sent him, I don't know, 30 or 40 songs. And he picked out these, I think we picked out 12, but we actually ended up using 10. And it was that simple. Then it was just a question of arranging some financing, and we didn't arrange enough. We had to go to a Kickstarter and get a crowdfund in there.
Sure.
And they were great. The fans got behind it. And so we were able to finish it all up. That's basically the story of how we did it. Not the story of the work involved, but how it came together, you know.
So when you say you sent them all these songs, these were songs that you already had finished and Mark just touched up
Well,
on them, or what?
they were songs that I demoed for myself.
Hmm.
And so some of them are finished completely and some of them are finished. Some of them were just a melody, you know, needed
Okay.
lyrics and all that stuff. And some of them are just verses, or, you know, all the different things you can add for a song.
Right.
I sent him all of that stuff because I wanted to hear them all the ideas I had. I'm happy to say that he pretty much chose the ones that were pretty much completed. But like I say, he did contribute some choruses and some more lyrics, you know.
Yeah. Are you familiar with the work that Mark has done with Ringo and people like Ozzy Osbourne?
Somewhat familiar, somewhat familiar. I haven't heard it all, but yeah, I am somewhat on the Aerosmith stuff as well.
Sure.
And this, I guess my stuff is more on the Ringo side of it, you
Hmm.
know, of the stuff he's done. Although I like to think it's original. I like to think it's not like Ringo's. It's not like this guy's. It's my stuff,
Hmm.
you know. So that's just the way I like to feel about it, you know.
Well, it does sound like a real collaboration to me when I hear these songs, because being very familiar with Mark's work as a songwriter, I can hear some of his input because a
Yeah,
lot of his stuff is very poppy and very Beatley, and
yeah,
the arrangements are, and many of them are on this album.
yeah.
So, were there any songs that the two of you wrote from scratch together, or were they pretty much what he added to your songs?
Um, the song "Rainy Day Man" came as an idea from Gary Bear. He
Hmm.
sent us it when we heard we were making a record, and it was just an idea that had a verse and some chords and stuff, and a bit of a chorus. And Mark sat down and finished that whole song together. And then "I Don't Want to Be Done with You" was a different song that I had, and I gave it to Mark, and he kind of scrubbed out the song idea
Ah,
and kept the guitar parts and everything, and made up a new song for it. So that one you could say we wrote together from the get go.
hmm.
Uh, None of the others, though, they were all my ideas from some of them going all the way back to 1970. You know, one of them in particular, "Shine," was a
Wow.
song I'd had in years, and I demoed with Badfinger in the old days. So that's about it, really. All the rest of them were my ideas. They were complete songs in my mind, but Mark came in and put some bits in the way a producer does, you know. And I think he did a hell of a job for me, actually. And he's very, like you said, he's kind of commercial minded, you know.
Hmm.
And so he always looks for the chorus and the hook lines. And if he doesn't hear it, he's very apt to put one in, you know. And so that's what he did where he felt they needed it. And God bless him, because I think that'll lead to a better record overall. You know, if it's more acceptable to people, more enjoyable by people. You know, so it worked
Yeah.
out good for me.
I can tell you that the work that he did with Ringo, I think, represents some of the best work of Ringo's solo career. And I look at Mark as being a real expert craftsman when it comes to being a songwriter. So, and working with people like Gary Burr, who he's been friends with for a very long time, they're also part of that Ringo and the Roundheads lineup,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
really good musicians. How did Julian Lennon become involved with your album?
Again, through Mark, really. I've met Julian many years ago, but we weren't close friends or anything. But I think he liked the Badfinger stuff that I did, or the Badfinger band did. And he liked the old stuff. And when Mark talked to him about it, and I think he was happy to do it. He seemed to enjoy himself that day. Came in, worked hard with us. I was happy that he told me he liked the tunes, and he was happy to do it. So, and that's really all I can tell you about it. It worked out nice. I think his voice sounds good with mine, and I was just happy to see him there. I've got some photos of him working. Incredible photos, the guy really singing out, just really doing it. It was great, yeah.
Well, I love the backing vocals on this.
Yeah.
I like everything on this album, really. Part of the problem I have with it is that every song is so strong. It's kind of like, what would I pick as the single? Yeah, Rainy Day Man might be the catchiest song on the album, but I love different songs for different reasons. And
yeah, that's good news, man.
In particular, I really look for your lead guitar work a lot in songs. And with Heaven, the way it kicks off with your lead guitar, it's such a wonderful ballad,
Thank you, man. Thank you very much, man.
What's the story behind that particular song?
Well, I've had the melody for a long time. That sequence, the A minor sequence going down like that. And I always loved the melody. And I wrote the first verse. I didn't have a chorus. I wrote the first verse. I wrote a bit of the second verse. And then Mark came involved and he helped me finish all the words. And then the Heaven chorus came out of Mark. And we both worked on that. A few lyrics here, a few lyrics there. And that's how it came together. It was hard to nail down what the song was about for me. But I love the, when the moonlight is hard and clear and the world ain't around. I love that, the suggestion of it. And I'm happy that it worked out the way it did. I think it sounds great. It's one of my faves on the record.
Yeah.
And the slide guitar bits, and the Greek solo. Well, no, that's on the other song, isn't it? Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. You also have a couple of guys on your album that you toured with for the White Album tour.
Yeah.
And
right.
Jason Sheff is on there and Mickey Dolenz. First, talk about Mickey. Did you just ask him while you were on tour? Do you want to get involved? How did that happen?
Yeah, we just got in touch with him. Actually, I'd played the rough mixes of the backtracks and the rough vocals on the tour bus, just to the guys to see what they thought. They all liked it, man. Everybody liked it. And Jason just right ahead volunteered to come in and sing some harmony if I wanted, and said he'd love to do it. And then Mickey, we got in touch with and asked him would he fancy doing that. And of course he did. He loved it, and he came to Mark's studio down in L.A. There he's got a studio on Santa Monica, and he just came down and sang pretty much on everything wherever Mark asked him. Sing these oohs, and Mickey's got an incredible voice, really wide range, and he loves singing. He used to do Chuck Berry songs and stuff. Mickey does.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's one of the most underrated singers in rock, no doubt about it.
Yeah. And so he came down and sang with us. We had a great time. Thank you so much, Mickey, for doing it. That's really all I can tell you. It all kind of just came together easy. And as far as things go like that go, it was really pretty easy. I think, they listen to the songs first. We always listen to the song really before the melody, you know what I mean? And all of that, the production. So I think they liked the songs and what they were about, the way they were all kind of different, but they were all had the same flavors and juices, and fancied singing on them. So I was lucky, I guess,
Yeah. Tell me all about Steve Holley. I mean, Beatle fans know him for being the last drummer in Wings. How did he become the drummer for this album?
Well, again, through Mark. Mark lives in New York, right round the corner from him. And I think they played together a lot. I'd met Steve at a couple of Beatle fests, and just a great guy and a fabulous drummer. Really strong, really on it, It was great watching him work, doing writing out his notes and his charts and suggesting things to the arrangement, just really putting himself in it, great treat and a great, like you say, a great drummer.
Hmm.
Just the grooves are great, aren't they, on the record?
Oh, absolutely. He's one
Yeah,
of my favorite drummers. He's one of those
yeah,
drummers where everything is in the pocket.
yeah, and rock solid.
Yep, yep.
When he does a roll, he really does a roll. You know, he's great.
I know, I know. He's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
tell me a little bit about, before we get back to the album, that tour, the White Album tour, because you had Todd Rundgren on there, and you have a long history going back to the Straight Up album with Todd. What was it like to work with him once again after all these years?
Well, I have worked with him a little bit on and off over the years, so it wasn't an absolutely brand new thing. This was the first tour I've ever done with him.
Hmm.
What can I tell you about him? He was great on the tour, super professional, really consistent, super energy levels.
Oh yeah.
Really put himself in the show, besides being, singing a couple of songs. Really put himself in the show, became a real character.
Oh,
Uh, and it
telling
was,
me.
he was a great highlight for me in the tour. We got to talk a little bit about the old days and stuff. It was, and then he'd get up with me and do Baby Blue and all that. So it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And then, of course, seeing these guys, Todd and Christopher and everybody,
Hmm.
doing the Beatles songs, doing great versions of them. And Todd was great. And he'd do like Bungalow Bill and do this thing with a water pistol, and it was
Right.
great.
I went to several
Which is
shows,
fun.
Joey. I went to
Okay,
several shows.
well, okay, yeah, good, good, good.
What
We
was it
did.
like to do Baby Blue with him, knowing, he produced the record?
It was good. It sounded like a record to me. So he sang the harmonies. He played a bit of rhythm. It was great.
Hmm. Did you do
Yeah, it
any
was fun.
reminiscing on the tour about working on Straight Up, or was it just
And then
concentrating on the
we
Beatles music?
I was keen to hear Todd's backstory to how he came to be involved in the Straight Up record from
Hmm.
his side. I knew from my side, of course, but from his side, how it came about. And, like for instance, Apple sent him all of the Straight Up versions,
Hmm.
all of the songs, because we did it twice. Um, we did demos and we did songs for the record. We actually recorded the one that Tommy and Pete produced. Um, that was sent to New York apparently, and Apple in New York didn't like it. They thought it wasn't smooth enough sounding. Man, they
Right.
wanted like an Abbey Road record, So,
Hmm.
and of course, our original version, Tommy and Pete produced, and it was necessarily a bit crude, like Badfinger was. You know what I mean? We were just like a regular beat group, really.
Hmm.
And so they wanted something more sophisticated, and that's why George came in
Right.
and upped the production values. When he couldn't do it because of the Bangladesh concerts and all that, it was him who arranged for Todd to come in and got Todd all the songs and everything. So it was just interesting to me to hear that, and hear that story and how he worked on the songs, just like any other producer would, like Todd did on these songs, for
Yeah.
my new record. Um, so it's just interesting. We talk about an hour and a half about that particular thing. It was just interesting to me to hear it. We didn't really know Badfinger, and we didn't really know Todd Rundgren. So when we met, we were complete strangers.
Hmm.
And of course, Todd was Todd, and Badfinger was Badfinger. And so that was a
Right.
little bit of this. So
I
yeah, it worked out
remember
good.
you told me many years ago, probably back in the 80s, that the sound that you had on No Dice was more true to the sound of Badfinger. It was more raw, was more kind of what you wanted. Whereas when Todd took over, it was more slick, if you wanted, or polished, and
Sure, it was.
George.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, so would you have preferred, looking back all these years, if they were more true to their sound, or are you overall very pleased of what George and Todd did?
Oh, it's a difficult question because the Badfinger side of me wishes they would have stayed a bit closer to what we they actually changed lyrics in songs, because they were afraid of losing radio play and things like that. And I never associated those ideas with these guys. I thought that they would use the lyrics regardless of those maybe consequences.
Right.
They changed little things. It was kind of weird. So for those reasons, I think I would have prepared the Badfinger version.
Yeah.
We also had a lot more songs, and they were a lot more varied. But what are you going to do? They were the record label. We were the little band in the corner. So there you go. You do what you do. You know what I mean? You go along with it. When we went on stage, we went right back to being Badfinger.
Right.
We didn't do Day After Day in the stage shows because we couldn't play it. The record of Day After Day has like 8 acoustic guitars playing, like 12 backup singers. You know what I mean? Leon Russell playing the piano, all that kind of stuff going on. And we were Badfinger. We were 2 guitars, bass, and drums. So we couldn't possibly do Day After Day. We tried it a few times, but it wasn't on, not for us anyway. We didn't sound anything like the record, and that kind of bummed us out. You take that and take a song like Baby Blue, which is a 4-piece band playing.
Right.
We played it every night. We opened the show with it. You know what I mean? That was the difference in it. And that's the difference when you make records like that. The other side of me, the professional guy, the guy that wants to be successful, I liked it because it was really successful. It was, sold loads of copies. We had a couple of top 5 hits off it. So I was happy about it. You know what I mean? Really happy.
And you told me that the lead guitar part on Day After Day was it was a combination of Pete Ham and George Harrison, correct?
That's right, yeah. Pete and I were doing the solo, working out the parts. When George came in and asked, did we mind if he played guitar? If he played some guitar on it? Well, I took my guitar off right away and gave it him. Said, yeah, go ahead, man. I went in the control room. Well, he and Pete played those slide parts, all of them, at the same time. They didn't overdub them individually. So 2 slide guitars playing together in harmony and unison. And as you know, slide is really variable. You never stop at exactly the same position.
Yeah.
You never do.
Especially 2 players at the same time.
That's exactly, well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. So it was difficult. And it took, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 hours maybe to do it. To work the parts out took an hour or so, a couple of hours. And then to record them and get it just so took a long time. But it did end up sounding super.
Yeah.
It always occurred to me later on, I should have kept that guitar that I gave George. I should have kept it, it would have been worth a house now,
You ain't kidding. Joey.
I traded it. Actually, I threw it up in the air. We played a gig in Vancouver, big theatre there, and a big sellout crowd, and we were doing Feeling All Right. We used to do a big jammy version of the Dave Mason song. And we're doing Feeling All Right, and I'm jamming away at the end of it, and I whipped off the guitar. I got to a high point, broke a string. The bass snapped. I was really pushing it, and it snapped. And I took the guitar off and threw it up in the air. And it flew up in the air, and it come down, and it landed on the end, and just went like that. It just separated, you know what I mean? So
almost like a Pete Townsend.
Yeah, I didn't have that guitar anymore, So really a drag.
Can you talk just a little bit about Mal Evans, because not much is said about him as a producer, and as we know that he produced No Dice. Did he add a lot of ideas for the band, or did the band already know what they wanted with the songs?
Again, well, like producers, a lot of them don't add ideas, but they point to the ideas that you're using yourself, and they bring those out. You know what I mean? Like the guitar picking, there, and no matter what. You know, those arpeggio picking bits. He loved that. And so that was more what Mal's input to the record was. He'd stay in the studio with us while we were rehearsing in Abbey Road. And we'd go over the songs like that. You know, this is the solo kind of thing. This is the, you know, the rhythm bits. And, you know, he worked with us on those things while not suggesting play this, because he didn't really play much. Oh, that's great, that bit. You know, yeah, let's use that. Work that out. You know what I mean? So his input was more like that, you know, and he kept it to the band. It sounded like the band. The only thing we overdubbed on it was their acoustic guitar, I think.
Okay.
I don't think we overdubbed anything else. There's no keyboards. I think that's all we overdubbed. Same on Baby Blue was that, you know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was just a band. I thought he was great as a producer. And I thought No Dice was really nice. Sounded like a band. Ballads, rock, rhythm and blues, was all of it. And so I liked it. I like what he did. I think it was and I think, you know, because he was a big guy, people looked at him and he always played the dope in the movies and all that, you know what I mean? Every time it's something like that. But he wasn't really like that. He was really bright and really entertaining, a lot of fun, a very loving guy. And he spent a lot of time working on that record himself, I mean, you know, doing production. And of course, No Matter What is a classic record. And he produced it. I don't care what they say. Mal produced it, you know? What are you going to say about that?
So since you mentioned before what you said about Straight Up, that they wanted something that was more polished on an album like that, was that part of the reason why Mal didn't continue as a producer?
You know, I've got no idea. I really don't know. I would have gone on with him, and I'm sure the other guys would have. And the real reason, I think, Tommy and Pete wanted to produce. And when we went in to do Straight Up, they went in with the original producers. So Mal never even got a look in on that, I don't think. Whether that's, you know, I don't know. I don't know why.
But everybody in the band was pleased with him, with Mal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, the record sounded great, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
You know, the reviews for the record were fabulous. They really were great reviews. So why not? Why not carry on with Mel? You know, I got no idea about that. You know?
And like you said, variety. I mean, We're for the Dark is one of my favorite songs of Badfinger in there.
We still do it on stage now. We still do it, yeah. And we do it just like that.
Yeah. You should be pleased to know, as long as we're talking about No Dice, there is a relatively new band out there called the Midnight Callers.
Go away.
And they got their name from the song.
That's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's
and
lovely.
I know they want to work with you. So
knock out, man. Well, bring them on, man.
Okay. I'll put you in touch with them.
All right.
But let's talk a little bit more. We'll do a little bit more Beatle talking a little later on. Tell me about a few songs on the album, like All I Do Is Cry. Really catchy, that particular one.
I wrote that song for Mike Gibbons.
Really?
Mike had left the band, you know, the Badfinger band we had going, and gone back to Florida. I guess, you know, frustration, we weren't getting anywhere and stuff like that. But anyway, I really wanted him to come back, you know. And I got that idea for that song. That's what it's, you know, if all I do is want to get you back, I can't, you know. And that's all I can tell you about it. Mike never did come back in the band, but we remained good friends, of course. I'd see him a lot. I really loved him. He was a lovely guy and a fantastic drummer. Jumped out into psychedelia with us in the old days. He really liked to experiment a lot. You know, Mike was a Mahavishnu fan, you know. And man, he used to drive that car like a race car. And he had a headphones jack stuck in his dashboard so that he could wear headphones. And he'd listen to those bands and he loved to play like that. Anyway, that's what If All I Do Is Cry is about, really. All the different things, you know. I'll never take you far from home, you know. Cause I did. You know, I was trying to figure out why, what was going on. But anyway, that's what it was about. It was about Mike and I.
Wow. So you kind of stockpile a lot of songs from the past that you just haven't released yet. Are you always thinking about
Yeah,
bringing them back, or what?
The ideas I have, yeah. You know, I've got boxes of tapes going all the way back to 1970 when I got my Reeboks. And there's songs on there that I've never done. So yeah, I've got loads of songs, loads and loads of them, and I do them now and again, like Shine. You know,
Yeah.
That Shine on there. I wrote that in 1972. Mark wrote a new verse about the waiting on a train, you know, which was a verse I didn't have in the original version. Badfinger, we actually demoed that song, you know, and dare I say it, Peter, when we were doing it, I wanted to have a different chorus in it, and Peter suggested, "What about Shine?" You know, because all the time I asking what happened to the sun, and he said, "What about Shine?" You know, so I thought, Shine, well, that's a good idea. And I went away and wrote the chorus, you know what I mean? And I got in touch with the Ham Estate recently about that, because we were going to credit Peter with a third of the writing on the song, you know, for suggesting the idea. But strangely enough, they wrote us back and said they didn't want him to get any credit for that. And if that's not weird, I don't know what is. I don't know what is, but that was the response. And so I don't think we gave him credit on the record. It's just weird.
On the new record, no.
Yeah, but that's what's weird. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Who plays the it's like a rollicking piano on that song? It's really excellent.
I think Mark played it. I think Benny Harrison played on it. He's the guy with the Rascals now. Do you know Benny?
No.
Great pianist and organist, especially. He played the B3 on this time as well. Just a great player. Who else played with piano on it? Maybe Paul Santos. But
okay.
Yeah, it might have been Paul, but
we'll look it up.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Tell me about, I'm most intrigued about the title track. It almost sounds like a musical. Be true to yourself.
Yeah, I've had that song I had the melody for many years, and I had the first and second verses and the refrain, you know. I played it to Mark, or rather, I sent it. Actually, the story, I had that much of it. I went round, I couldn't finish the words. And one night rather, I was sitting with my eldest brother, Frank, and we just talked about life. Now, he was a lot older than me, Frank was. And so we hadn't had that many conversations that went beyond how are you doing? You know, because he was really my eldest brother. He was way, way older than me. And so one night, though, we happened to sit down and we'd had a couple of pints and we talked about life, about what had happened to us, really. He told me things he'd never told me about before. Great stories of his Navy life and everything. And I talked to him about, you know, the things that I thought about, Jordan, like the politics of it and the religion, the all those sides of life that you don't talk about generally. And so from that conversation, I got the rest of the words for the song. Wrote them all. I got them all that night, actually, after the conversation, and then I played the whole thing to Mark when I sent him the tapes, and again he thought we needed a chorus for it. He said, "Where's the chorus?" You know, that's his favorite question. And so Mike came up with the chorus, and I called the song Yesterday originally. Mark's chorus was "Be True to Yourself," and so we did the song. It turned out really nice, really well. The whole thing knitted together good. And really, it seemed like a nice title for the record, Be True to Yourself. I've always written the kind of songs that are on this album. They all have a little bit of salt in them,
Yeah.
from life. And they all have a little bit of fantasy in them from being a musician. And so Be True to Yourself seemed to be apt to me. If you listen to my first record, listen to this one that I just put out, they're all on a par, really. You know what I mean? They all kind of do the same thing. So, except, I should say, for the Memphis record, that's completely different. But there it is. That's what it is. That's what the song was about. And I think it's a good song.
I think it's an amazing song. I think it's one of your best songs. And
thank you, man. Thank you.
I love how you just save a lot of this stuff from the past. It's a good thing. All these ideas. Do you remember everything you've written?
I can't remember. I think I do. I'll sometimes forget the sequence. Because the sequences are all a little bit different. That's what makes songs different. When you get an idea for a song, you've got to record it immediately. And so the melody has its little quirks, because they're the things that slip away first. Because all songs are the same, aren't they? You know what I mean? All the ballads are the same. It's very unusual to have sequences that are very different. It just is. We've soaked up all those influences all our life, just like big sponges. And then we give ourselves a squeeze every now and again, and something pops one of those ideas out. Right. You know what I mean? And they all come from the influences, It's very rare to have a completely original piece of music, I think. So that's just the way it is. I mean, you can't say that about Paul McCartney. He's written, more original songs than anybody else. Although, his songs came from somewhere,
Every artist, whatever they write is a combination of what they've been influenced by, plus anything new they bring to it.
Yes.
I don't know if it's all completely original. You could probably trace a lot of what every artist writes to their influences.
Yeah.
Some
that's
artists
right,
don't
that's
have,
right.
Some artists have a lot of influences like Paul. He draws from so much.
Yeah. The Little Richard influences and things like that in the early stuff. Everly Brothers, all that, Buddy Holly, Carl Perkins, all of that. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everybody, that's where music comes from. It comes from the past, but it's relevant now. It's the same today, so.
Yep. And the Beatles were never shy about telling you who their influences were. But,
no, they weren't. No.
One more song I want to bring up is I Don't Want to Be Done With You. That's another great rocker on the album. What can you tell me about that one?
I did that song. I can't even remember the original title, but I had those guitar licks in it, I had those guitar licks, and when I played it for Mark, he said, "Oh, I really like the guitar licks," but he wasn't really enamored with the song. So he took it away, and he came back with "I Don't Want to Be Done With You." So there you go.
I would love to have seen the process between you giving Mark half-finished songs, three-quarter finished songs, and he just finishing them up, because sometimes you just need that little bit collaboration, and then the song is done.
Yeah, that's what you do. That's exactly what you do. Sometimes it's more than a little bit. Sometimes, like in the case of that one, it's a whole lot of that song is Mark's.
Yeah.
So, but you've got to go with it. And I don't walk around saying I'm the greatest songwriter in the world, and I'm keeping all my stuff for myself. I did get into it a couple of times with him about lyrics. Because some lyrics I feel are very, very vital to the song, So there was a little bit of that, but he did a great job on that one, man. A friend of mine in England, Billy Kinsley,
Right.
He called me up and told me how much he loved that song, and he wished he'd written it. And he was really proud of me. He was proud to know me because I wrote that song. So I mean, it really is different. Songwriting's a funny thing. You know what I mean?
It's a great compliment when it comes from another musician that you admire. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it knocks you out. Yeah, you can't help it. Yeah. Leon
yeah.
Russell came to me one day at the Bangladesh concert. And he came right over to me and he said, "You wrote that song Suitcase, didn't you?"
Mm.
And I said, "Well, yeah." He said, "What a great song, man."
Uh-huh.
No, that was Leon Russell saying that. Well, I walked around all day, my head. I had to keep hold of my head, you know.
Yeah.
It really is important to you, yeah.
There's nothing like someone that you really admire or somebody covering your song.
Yeah,
That's like the
yeah.
highest compliment you can get, really.
It really is, yeah.
I want to ask you a few more things that are Beatle related. But I've heard that your song, and I love this one, The Winner, was about John Lennon. Was that true?
I did originally write that song about John. Yeah. I was,
Uh,
I was, well, you probably got a question. What?
Yeah, what it no, is there a specific lyric that you're referring to with John
Well,
there? Or-
the whole lyric of it, I felt that John was a big enough star personality, uh, energy, and stuff that I felt like he was moaning a lot, and that really was what the song was about. You could drive a car, be a movie star any day of the week. You don't
Yeah.
have to dance or walk about. You just have to speak. You know,
Okay.
maybe you just have to speak. You know what I mean? You can fly a plane, go insane. Any day that you like. Everyone will say, "Have you been away? Everything is all right." And I couldn't for the life of me see what he was moaning about. Well, eventually, what he was moaning about turned into that big expanse of what was wrong with the world, and he
Hmm.
was right about most of it. He was right about most of it. And so afterwards, I felt a bit, oh man, maybe I shouldn't open my big mouth. But yeah, that's what I wrote it about.
Yeah, because when I hear the lyrics, I'm thinking that could be about a lot of people. Unless you told me it was about John Lennon, I wouldn't necessarily think that.
Well, I didn't go around shouting it was about that. It was just an
Yeah,
idea for a song. You know what I
right.
mean?
And as long as we're talking about that song, you've got to tell me about Icicles. Because for some reason that melody just stays in my head every time. After I play it once, it just doesn't leave.
Excuse me a second. He, Icicles, it really surprised me. I wrote the song, and it was just I thought, stuff that I felt. It is nice when I see my friends
Hmm.
and the children and all that stuff. I liked all that. And the melody was nice. I was trying to write original melody. Um, the bridge I got from, not from a melody, but from Joni Mitchell. I loved I couldn't figure the abstract chord changes that she would use in her melodies. Kathy had turned me onto her.
Okay.
Uh, I don't know if I ever told you, we went to see Joni Mitchell and Jackson Browne in Manchester, in
No.
England.
Okay.
And I think it was the day we recorded that Set of Six video for the BBC. Anyway, she was magnificent. I mean, nothing less. And I was enthralled in the auditorium, the theatre. She was absolutely fantastic. Couldn't believe the strength of her. Anyway, so that kind of struck with me. And then when I was writing Icicles, that's where I got the bridge from, that B minor change. I thought worked really nice. But I was flabbergasted that, a lot of people have said that's one of your best songs. It's a
Hmm.
great song. And I never really looked at it like that.
Right.
I liked it. It was a nice tune. The band liked it. As they did all the songs that I presented to Badfinger, they liked. Who's to know, but that's what happened. But so thank you for saying that, really, and bringing it up. I don't quite understand it, but I'm happy. Makes me happy.
Whenever it's your birthday, I copy and paste the URL of Icicles from YouTube and I put it on my Facebook page. That's
Wow.
usually what I have representing you, but there could be so many songs that I love that
Thank
you've
you, man.
done. Just one more thing about No Dice. I've always been curious. You guys recorded a song which happened to be called Love Me Do.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
always wondered if that was intentional, so that people would
It
look
was
at the
just,
back cover and think, could they be covering the Beatles song?
it was just a rock song, and that was the chorus. You know, come on over here and love me. You know what I mean? Love
I
me
know.
do. That was what it was about. I wasn't copying the Beatles. I wasn't trying to, and I don't know. There was never any other song called "Love Me Do." I don't know about that.
Hmm.
But I wasn't trying to do that or make any comments about the Beatles. No.
Okay, I'm just wondering about that. It was a coincidence, since
Yeah.
there aren't other songs I know called "Love Me Do" besides those two. But can you talk a little bit about the concert for Bangladesh and what that was like?
Of course I can. Yeah, yeah. One of the
I mean,
great nights of my life. One of the great times of my life. Uh, we'd done the George Harrison album, the All Things Must Pass album,
sure.
and when George, I never asked him about this really, but when he was asked to do a concert like that or try and raise money for the Bangladesh tragedy, he thought about doing a concert and a big concert. And the only music that he knew, other than Beatle numbers, and rather than go on and just jam out some Carl Perkins and Chuck Berry and that, he
Right.
decided he was going to perform that album. And so that's what we did. And he called us in because we'd played on it. And he said, "Will you come and do it with me?" So we said, "Of course." We said, "Yeah." And then the story really begins. They flew us to New York on one of those old airliners, the ones with the three round things on the back. Remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Really old ones. Yeah, yeah. It felt like the door was open. There was a draft and stuff like that. Anyway, they flew us to New York, put us in a nice hotel, I think the Essex House, and we rehearsed at the Steinway building in New York, at the Steinway Piano building. They had a rehearsal hall upstairs. And first of all, it was just George and Ringo, Billy Preston, Klaus Forman,
Hmm.
and Badfinger. And we went through the whole album and got the rhythm beds together. And it took about 3 or 4 days to do that. I don't remember anybody actually coming into the rehearsal room with us. But then on Saturday, we went to the garden, Madison Square Garden, it was called then.
Hmm.
I don't know what it's called now, but
Still called that. It's still
is it?
Madison Square Garden. Yeah.
Yeah. So we went there and we did a couple of dress rehearsals. And during those rehearsals, all the singers were there. All the girls and guys. Leon Russell showed up with the Shelter people.
Mhm.
Jim Horn came with the LA Horns. And we'd played with Jim before at on the I think the first Warner album. He played on Pete's song. What's that song now?
On the
Uh,
first, I
on the
Miss
first
You.
Warner's, no, on that album, but it was Massive Span.
Okay.
That one.
Okay.
And they played the horns, Jim Price, Bobby Keys, and Jim Horn.
Hmm.
Jim Horn played the solo on it, played a alto sax, I think. And he played about 12 solos that day.
Yeah.
And each solo was brilliant. I mean, bloody brilliant,
Mhm.
And such a great player. And he's got Bobby Keys and Jim Horn kind of taking the mickey out of him while he's doing it. You know what I mean? So that's some strong competition there. So it was great. They played great. Said they'd won. It was one of the best soul backtracks that they ever played to.
Hmm.
We were really proud of that because we really tried to play it like like the Booker T and the MGs.
Sure.
We tried to play that cool. And they said they really enjoyed it. But anyway, so Jim Horn showed up. Eric showed up on the Saturday. the story about that, we'd been expecting Eric every day of the rehearsal week, and he never showed up.
Right.
Never showed up. But he came on the Saturday and he was good. He bought this big old ES350 Gibson, like a Chuck Berry guitar. Beautiful.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was great. We had a great time. Bob Dylan showed up on the Saturday.
Right.
They
didn't know. They didn't know till the last minute whether he would show up. Right.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And you know, I heard the other day, somebody asked me, an interviewer asked me, he said, is it right that you guys were going to play a couple of songs at the concert? But then when Bob Dylan came up, they shelved it. So I don't know whether that's true or not. You know what I mean? Because we were always the last to know about anything to do with Badfinger.
But you didn't rehearse any Badfinger songs in the rehearsals.
Well, we didn't need to. We didn't need to. Mike was there. I was there. Pete was there. And Tommy was there. We didn't need to rehearse. We played those songs 120 times a year. We played 120 shows a year, pretty much. So we knew those songs inside out, you know.
But wouldn't you possibly have played it with the other musicians to back you up too?
No.
It would have just been the four of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I have no objection to it.
Yeah. Maybe if we did Day After Day, George and Leon might have played, because they played on Day After Day, both of those guys. So maybe they would have played with us. But on all the other records, it was just Badfinger. You know, we never played with them. They never came and played with us.
It's pretty remarkable from the moment that George committed to doing the concert to when it took place. It was a relatively short period of time to put that whole thing together.
Yeah.
The sad part about it is I wish Badfinger had a few songs in there. I wish Eric Clapton had a few songs in there too. You know?
Yeah, it might have been cool, but I don't know. Well, I don't know the thinking behind that. You know, it might have been cool. We weren't bothered about it. We didn't go there with the idea. Well,
sure.
Great, you know, you just go there and do the job. That's cool, you know. So
I know it's all for the cause. That's the most important thing.
You know, we were really honored to be there. You know, that George had actually asked us to come and play.
Yeah.
You know, that's a heck of a deal. You know, George Harrison, you know, little band, you know, big stuff.
And now you're not only here with George, but you're with all these other superstars too. So, and they were on All Things Must Pass, you know.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. They were all really decent guys. You know, the ones we talked to. Eric was lovely. He was in the All Things Must Pass album. He was just the same. You know, I played the first gig, opened the show for the first Cream gig ever. I
didn't know that.
Yeah, we played the first, I think, 6 shows they did, because we had the same managers as the Who, and their office was next door to Robert Stigwood's office, and he managed Cream. One of my best mates was the Cream's tour manager. I suggested him for the job. So yeah, we were around those guys and we're watching Eric burn, you know, every day. Man, was he good. Smoking guitar player, man. And he wasn't that conceited about it. He really wasn't, you know. I never got that from him. Boy, but he could play rings around a lot of people.
Most people think he's certainly, you know, one of the absolute greatest. Who's going to deny that?
Yeah, raging giant. Yeah.
The All Things Must Pass sessions, anything specific you remember about that? Or was you just told to play acoustic guitars and that was it?
No, there were a lot of things, a lot of small memories. The going in the first session, and this was the first real Beatles session I'd been on, and the shock of seeing Ringo Starr sitting at the drums was unbelievable. You know? Oh, there's Eric Clapton. You know? So those initial memories are all there. Alan White was there. Ooh, Billy Preston, the big smile. You know, when Billy looked up and smiled at you, you know, the whole world lit up. And that's the truth of that. George came in, he was all cool, and this was long hair George, G jacket George, you know what I mean? He came in and sat with us, and this is the first song, I think it was Beware the Darkness or Wah Wah, something like that. And, you know, he had this way of doing it. He'd have the song completely together and he'd just come and sit with you and play it for you, sing it to you. you watch the chords, get the verse, get the chorus, and then the arrangement,
Right.
and it was very enjoyable. It was always astounding to see the guys getting their parts together. You know what I mean? Actually working on a little bit, Ringo playing and thinking,
Mm-hmm.
and then playing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the performance was always the performance. You know what I mean? It was different than the run throughs or the. We only took every song about maybe 2-3 takes, and that'll
That's
be it.
all?
Yeah, yeah. We didn't do a lot of takes on it. They knew what they wanted. Phil Spector was producing.
Hmm.
He used to play us 2-track mixes. When we go in the control room to listen to the take, he'd never play the multi-track. He'd always play a little mix with some echoes and the rough vocal balance, So you got a kind of an idea of what was going to be, It was super.
Were you always there from start to finish with these songs? I mean, I know you said 2-3 takes, but like, for example, some songs required horns,
No,
like
we
What
did.
Is
We
Life
went
and
in.
all that.
We went on those sessions when I think when George did the overdubs. He'd have the particular people there to do the overdub, and they'd just do that,
Hmm. But in every case, he kind of knew the arrangement, what he wanted with every song.
Yes, he did. He knew what we were going to do. We knew what the bass was going to be. The drums. That's all basic rhythm bed stuff.
Hmm.
But the lead instruments, you're never quite sure. Eric would be there every day, God bless him, working out slide bits for the stuff. And you'd hear him playing a little bit, and you'd hear it on the rough mixes and stuff. But then it would be gone when the record came out. There was Eric's real part,
Hmm.
superb, yeah. I
Okay.
distinctly remember him rehearsing My Sweet Lord,
Hmm.
the working that out in the studio, So it was great, man. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I wish I could have been there for that, man. All those musicians, great musicians. An
Yeah,
album that has turned out to be such a classic,
sure.
as was the Imagine album, where you played a
Yeah,
few songs. What do you
yeah.
remember about that? Because that was just you and Tommy on that, right? A bit.
Yeah, it just happened. I don't know where Pete or Mike were. I think they got back to Wales or something for the weekend. And of course, John's roadie called us right out of the blue and asked us what we do. John was recording that night. Then they said, "Will you do us a favor? Will you do him a favor and come bring your guitars down, play some guitar for him? Will you do him a favor?" John Lennon. No, I can't do it. I'm going to the Chinese.
Yeah.
It was great. We went to John's house, the big mansion, Tittenhurst.
Yep.
Nobody was there. We couldn't find anybody. We went in the front door and there was nobody there. We saw his house by ourselves. We walked through all the rooms and everything. Black carpet everywhere. And the works of art hanging on the walls, going up the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
There was like a hammer, like a hammer hanging in a big gold frame, and
Okay.
a shovel in a big gold frame, and like, whatever. Tools, they were all tools.
It's
And
art.
that's what he had for his art, yeah. And he had the Yes, Yoko's Yes thing in the vestibule. When you came in the front door, it was right there, the ladder and everything. So we climbed up there and had a look at that.
As soon as you came in, it was right there?
Yeah, it was right there in the vestibule. Yeah, you know what a vestibule is,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was right there. And then we found this snooker room, which was like a library room. And all the walls were books. There were no doors or anything. All the walls were books. And the door was a panel. So he had a beautiful full-size snooker table with elephants on the corners. I've just written a song about it. About that night. And because people ask me this story, and I figured if I had a song about it, I could just sing the song. Anyway, we eventually found the studio. I could tell you some more things. The jukebox is in the kitchen. with all the old records on the 20 Flight Rock, stuff like that. Blue Suede Shoes, Rip It Up, all those songs, Rockola,
In the documentary of Above Us Only Sky, you do see that room with the pool table in there.
Yeah.
So that's the room with all the books around it. So that's got to be it that you were talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure. And well, that's great. I'll have to have a look at that.
Yeah.
And
did you hang out with all the musicians that were on the album? With Klaus?
No, just with the people at that session that night. There were Jim Keltner, Klaus Foreman, Nicky Hopkins, and George, and John, of course, and Tommy and I with the spare parts. That's all there were. There was only 4 or 5 guys there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's quite a band right there.
Yeah, it was a hell of a band. And you hear it on the record. That's all there is on the record. It's that little band playing.
Mm-hmm.
It was fantastic to do tracks with John Lennon. A great hero to me anyway, to musos. I thought he was one of the great songwriters and singers of all time. Maybe the greatest, I don't know. But this was the guy, I couldn't get it out of my mind, with Strawberry Fields and all of that stuff, completely different kinds of songs that he introduced us to and invented kinds of music. Willy-nilly. The guy was brilliant. And I always loved his humor was great. So to have this same guy come walking in the room, it's about 10:30 at night, and he's dressed in jeans and a little one of those V-neck sweaters with the no sleeves. I think they're called Argyles. Anyway, he's dressed in that, and his hair's kind of sticking up, and he just got out of bed kind of deal. And he was really sweet, really nice. He asked Nicky to make an intro up for Jealous Guy. It was lovely and really awe-inspiring. He just sat down and sang the song to us. And there he was in our headphones, singing Jealous Guy, and he's sitting right there. 5 feet, away.
Yeah.
He was really polite to us, really lovely. Thanks for coming, lads. Knockout, no thumbs up. He didn't give us a thumbs up.
Did John or George ever talk to you, or any of the Beatles, about Badfinger's music and certain songs they liked, or ever discussed your albums?
No, not that I remember. I can only imagine that they liked the songs, and that's why they kept us on the label. But no, I was too scared really to talk to them as regular people. I couldn't get over the idea that they were Beatles, and that they'd done all this magnificent stuff. I would have been the same if I'd met Little Richard or, any of those people really. And I have met some of them, and I can't get over it. They're so great. People say we were great, you know what I mean? But to me, those guys were great, We were a little band. We were just a band. And we did good stuff. We did our best. We did our very best. But man, you're talking about the Beatles here. I mean, that's enough said, really.
I know, but don't undersell Badfinger though, because you had great songwriters between you and Pete and Tommy. Mike wrote a little. You had so much variety within, and strong songs that stay in your head. I think Badfinger music sounds better over time. I could listen to No Dice and Straight Up. Wish You Were Here. I know you told me years ago you thought that was your favorite Badfinger album.
I think so, yeah. True? I think we got back to the band there. We came off the road and went right in the studio. There was no separation. We had a week off, and then we went to Caribou. The band was tight, super tight. There were a lot of things going on around the band, which really spared the songwriting. Every song on the record is about what was happening to us right then. Mike had some great tunes. Pete, of course, had some great tunes. Tommy had stopped writing a lot of songs, so we generally have 2 or 3 songs to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of just got ideas all the time, but I brought about 6 songs, 7 songs to the sessions. We worked them out and did them, and it sounded like a real fat version of Badfinger, to me.
I love the melody. The medleys on that album were killer.
Yeah.
And I can't understand why something as commercial as, No One Knows, that should have been a hit.
Well, I don't think they put it out, did they?
No, but I mean, it deserved to be.
Yeah, well, Pete was writing songs like he could write a song like that at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
So, but really, all the trouble was going on. The record came out, was very well received. There was no single released, as far as I know, but the album still started to sell a lot. And then the lawsuits happened.
Yeah.
Polly stole the money. I don't know how he did it, but he got the money out of the escrow accounts. How do you do that, man? How do you do that? But Polly did it, got the money. I talked to the head of Warner Music about it. He said he got up that morning. The record was out and he knew it. He knew it was doing well. He thought it was a great record. But he got up that morning and he had an itch about the royalties, which were in escrow and they were paid to us,
Yeah.
And he went into the accounts and looked at them, and there was a big load of money missing. There was like 350 grand missing, And there it was.
Your story. Your story, I'm telling you.
There it was, man. How the hell do you steal money out of escrow accounts? But they did. They did, man. Anyway, they killed the record, took them all out of the stores. And then the Beatles and EMI got into a lawsuit. And so all the Apple records were taken out of the stores. So all of a sudden, there were no Badfinger records in any stores anywhere. The price of straight up started to go up.
Yeah. God,
anyway, pretty much killed us, So.
Yeah, there's so much bad luck associated with the band, which is a shame because you guys were phenomenal. I really think so. I was just thinking about Just One Chance. What a great song. Yeah. I mean, that could have been a hit record. There's so many songs throughout, even later on Airwaves. There are songs there. Lost Inside Your Love. I mean, to me, in my ear,
great song, yeah.
Yes, I mean, it continued. It didn't just stop, and you have an amazing catalog there that everybody should explore. Because I think Badfinger, they're a criminally underrated band, and they could have, I guess, in the right hands, they could have been so much bigger.
Well, who knows? I'll never know about that. I only know we did our level best. We brought our best stuff. Nobody kept anything back. Pete gave his best songs to us. Tommy did. And I agree with you. I got to say that Lost Inside Your Love, Tommy was way underrated. Way under. I know he's given credit for co-writing Without You and all that. And they say they were collaborators, but I never saw them collaborating. Honest to God. in those 4 or 5 years, I never saw them sitting down writing songs together. Never. Maybe in the very early days they did when they were all learning to write songs. But I never really saw that collaboration. But we all collaborated with each other in a way, like a real band does.
Yeah.
In those ways, we just did our best, and they turned out really pretty good. Baby Blue is still a great, great record. Yeah. And we made that. We made that record. It wasn't like anybody else making it. We made it, I'm proud of it. And all the other ones, Name of the Game, Timeless, Day After Day, they're fantastic songs.
Take It All.
So
Take It All.
Take It All is a great number.
Yeah.
We still do it on stage. We still do it now. People still dig it, Yeah.
I love all of it. I really do. I'll say to you what I said to you many years ago. There are certain bands like the Beatles, like Badfinger, like the Eagles, like Fleetwood Mac, that have so many different songwriters, and it adds so much to the group. Everyone has their own style, and yet there's a consistency,
Yeah, the band is the style, isn't it? And you do your songs. If I was doing a song with Pete and Tommy and Mike, I'd know pretty much where it was going to go. I didn't know what the bass part was going to be, because Tommy would always make up a new bass part. You know, he never played an old bass part in his life. And Mike was the same. He never played the same drums.
Right.
You know, Tom P was brilliant on the guitar always. What an incredible slide guitar player, man. Nobody ever talks about it.
Yeah.
The guy is incredible, unbelievable. And smoking, you know, single note guy.
Yeah.
Smoking, yeah. Knew his guitar inside out. Inside out, you know. So.
Yeah. Speaking of Baby Blue, you just made a new version of that.
No, I didn't just do it. I did a recut of a bunch of Badfinger songs in like 1990 or something like that.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that because I just saw it pop online recently.
Well, yeah. Well, the record label, San Juan Music, I think, they decided, and they did call me after they'd done it, and told me that they'd had Matthew Sweet.
Right.
I'd done some guitar and vocal on the version of Baby Blue on that record. Okay. And but I never knew about any of these things. I mean, it's great that they all did it. You know, I can't remember any of the names right now.
Okay.
Ian Anderson, the keyboard player from Yes. I can't remember his name now. Pretty stupid.
Rick Wakeman.
I'm going dopey, you know.
Rick Wakeman?
No, not Rick Wakeman. Yeah, it was Rick Wakeman. Yeah.
Okay.
Did come and get it. And the English singer Terry Reid.
Okay.
Did Day After Day, I believe. What he might have done. No, did he come and get it? No Matter What. He might have done No Matter What. But anyway, they did the big hits.
Yeah.
And they've been released by that same label. And it's a bit confusing because it's at exactly the same time as my new record's coming out. This is like Taste of the Past when Apple put Ass out and Warner Brothers put the first Warner album out. I think either the same week or within a week of each other.
History repeats.
Both albums died,
Yeah. Tell me, unfortunately, with this pandemic affecting the world, how do you go about promoting the new album if you can't really tour? Or are there any plans in the near future that you're looking at for touring?
I'm looking at spring next year, is what I'm hoping for. But, you know, I'm not 100% on that yet. Whenever we can tour, we will tour. I can tell you that. Both as Joey Molland of Badfinger. And if this album is received pretty well by the public, then I'll take it out on the road for definite, yeah.
Okay. In the meantime, anything virtual you can do? Any performances you're thinking about?
I'm going to do a couple of iPads. I mean, you know, podcasts, supposedly. We're just kind of setting that stuff up. Yeah, you know, the album's very new right now. So, and I'm doing these, you know, interviews and of the label I'm with is a catalog label. And catalog labels, as you probably know, release your past catalogs. You know, they don't really put new records out. And if they do, they don't put them out with the idea of having a hit record with it. The reaction we're getting to this record, that's this record right here. We're getting such a great reaction. We've got universally great reviews all over the world. All of them. I haven't heard any bad reviews yet. I've heard one guy said it's like a pop album, you know. I suppose, you know, so what? Anyway, this is going down so well, and because of the nature of the label that I'm with, I've gone out and got a team together. Mike Brandbowl to do the media, which is all your internet and all Spotify and all that stuff, and I've hired a FM radio promotion team. They're going to work on the. I've signed with the manager, Andrew Morris, and you might find this interesting. Kathy and I wrote a song way back in the day called Andy Norris. Yeah,
yeah.
It's about this guy, or it's named after this guy, Andrew Morris. We thought his name was Andrew Norris, and we wrote Andy Norris, and we named it after that guy. He was the tape op at Olympic Studios in the old days when we were recording there.
And now he's your manager? Now he's your manager?
He's my manager now, yeah. only about 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, I signed with him as management. Great guy, totally trust him. He and his partner, Tamara Martin, are going to be working on it. And so I've got this team together now. I'm like a little record company. And you can see by my baggy eyes how much work I've been doing. I'm working like a dog. Because I want to give the record a chance. We took a lot of time, did our very best with it. Mark did a fantastic job. And with the sun shining on me, look at the sun shining now. And we're doing, just going to do my best and see if the record's got any legs at all, We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, it's going to be played on my syndicated show, Every Little Thing.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And is there any chance of, you may have talked about this before with me, I can't remember. Since you've gone out doing the Straight Up album in its entirety, any chance of doing other Badfinger albums in their entirety?
Yeah, there are. We're actually talking about it because next year, that's one of the shows we want to go back out with. So we might do like Wish You Were Here or something.
Phenomenal.
And do that with the same band, the band from LA.
Yeah, the one that works with Peter Asher and Denny Lane.
That same guy, that same band. Yeah. Superb.
Yeah.
So
well,
it'll be good to do it.
Okay. Well, as soon as you hear about that, you let me know. I'm going to catch as many shows as I can on the East Coast.
Okay.
You go to all the venues that I love.
Yeah.
I know New England pretty well and New York City, but Daryl's house, all those places. I love going there. So So Joey, this has been phenomenal. I couldn't have picked a better first guest for my show. And I wish you more success with the new album called Be True to Yourself. Hold it up again.
There it is. Look, it's got a front and back cover. Can you see it?
Okay.
Woo!
Reminder, that photo was taken by Julian. Very nice.
Yeah, it was. And that's, I'm not sure, but I think that's, what's his name?
You said Mitch Ryder. You said it was
Mitch Ryder, yeah.
I didn't know if you were kidding or not.
It looks like Mitch Ryder, doesn't it?
I can't tell from that far away.
Well, look at his hat. Look at his hat.
Okay. Maybe it is.
Maybe it is.
We'll have to find out. I'll have to get Mitch on the show and we'll get him to confirm it.
Yeah, get him. He's doing a new record right now.
Good.
Man. Yeah, man. Love the guy.
I love hearing the veterans that continue to work, because it tells you that that's what's in your blood, and, it
what we do,
more
all
to
right.
me. What's that?
I said, it's what we do, all right,
that's, I can't tell you how much it means to me whenever I see people that I've spent many years with learning their music, growing up with, and they're still out there because it's what's in their hearts. And for that, I thank you for all the great music you've given us with Badfinger, the solo stuff, and you continue to do. And really continued success with the new album. And I want to thank everyone watching this for watching my very first show here on YouTube. And hopefully there'll be some more new ones coming soon. So thanks so much. Thanks so much, Joey.
You're very welcome, man. Thank you, Ken. And thank you for all your help and all your, over the years, the plays and the interviews and all of it, man. It's been really great to me.
Hey,
all of us.
You make it all the more fun, Joey.
Yeah. It's a great partnership, man.
Okay.
It really is.
Thanks so much. Yep.
All right.
Thank you, Joey. And thanks to all your viewers. We'll see you soon. Man.
Thank you, boss. I'll see you soon. Right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, just stay there. Thanks for doing this. This has been phenomenal, Joey. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because I didn't know if you were frozen there for a second.
No. Well, thank you, man. I mean, no, it's great. I love this. This is fun. This is all part of it.
Yeah.